So now we're back to Godot docs, getting started step by step using signals. All right. So in this lesson, we're going to take a look at signals. They are messages that nodes emit when something specific happens to them, like a button being pressed. All right. Other nodes can connect to that signal and call a function when the event occurs. Signals are a delegation mechanism. Signals are a delegation mechanism built into Godot that allow one game object to react to a change in another without them referencing one another. Believe it or not. Anyway, what does that mean? A delegation mechanism. Okay, it's just a thing. It's a thing that's built into Godot. Where one object like a button will react to it being pressed. You know, you hit a button and it does something, like in JavaScript, you know, whenever you say like add event listener, that's all they're trying to say. Using signals limits coupling and keeps our code flexible. Coupling, this just goes to a Wikipedia page. If we want to learn about that, we can, but I'm pretty sure we'll just actually experience this and it'll hit a lot harder. So let's go to the next part. For example, we might have a life bar on the screen that represents the player's health. When the player takes damage or uses a healing potion, we want the bar to reflect the change. Yeah, of course. So to do so in Godot, we would use signals. All right. So it's just the way to get, like it said, like we would have like a condition saying if health is less than, you know, or if health goes down, make the little green bar go down a little bit, you know, by whatever amount we want, whatever. All right. So basically, let's keep going. Anyway, like methods, callable. All right, here's this. This is like a class thing. There's so much stuff on this website. Anyway, so like methods, signals are a first class type since Godot 4.0, turns out. This means we can pass them around as method arguments directly without having to pass them as strings, which allows for better auto-completion and is less error-prone. I don't even know what that means. This is our first time seeing it. We're going to see the signal class reference for a list of what we can do with the signal type directly. And this just goes to the same kind of thing as that. So here's a C also. As mentioned in the introduction, signals are Godot's version of the observer pattern. Remember that? We can learn more about it at remember this page right here? Anyway, we can learn more about it there if we want. I think we'll be all right. So we're now going to use the signal to make our Godot icon from the previous lesson, the listening to player input, move and stop by pressing a button. True. All right. Note, for this project, we're going to be following the Godot naming conventions. For GD script, classes or nodes use Pascal case. So the first, the first letter is capitalized. I always thought it was just upper camel case, but whatever, Pascal case. Variables and functions use snake case. We've seen that. And constants use all caps, which, I mean, I don't know. We'll see about that. See this styling guide. We could if we wanted to. C#, we're not using C#. All right. Scene setup. To add a button to our game, we're going to create a new scene which will include both a button and the sprite2d.text scene we created in the creating our first script lesson. Okay, pardon me. We're going to create a new scene by going to the menu scene, new scene. Okay, we'll do that, and then in the scene doc, we'll click the 2D scene button. All right. And this is going to add a node 2D to our root. And in the file system, we're going to click and drag the sprite2d.text scene file we saved previously onto the node 2D to instantiate it. All right. And then we'll get to the next part after that. So first, new scene. Next, click this. And then third, drag whatever drag this up to what we made, this thing. We'll see. All right, so let's do it. Scene, new scene. Okay. 2D scene. Okay. Drag this to this. Okay. And that's what it said so far. Let's go to the next part. We want to add another node as a sibling of the sprite 2D. To do so, let's right click on node 2D and select add child node. We're not doing that. We could do that. We could right click here and say that. And it would be another way to do that. But as you can see here, Control A, and that's the choicest way. That's the coolest guy way. Control A, boom. What did you want? I forgot already. Oh, we didn't look. Search for button node and add it. All right, there's got to be something else. The node is small dot by default. Okay, we'll do that later. All right, so let's add the button node. So button, enter. Okay, and sprite 2D. No. 2D. Let's go to the 2D workspace up here. We can see that's there. Let's get the little, let's center this, but without, actually, no, let's bring it over here. No, we can't even do that. Let's try to make it a little bit bigger by clicking one of these, anyway, it's going to tell us to do that. Let's let the thing do it. All right, so we did that. So the node is small by default. We saw it. Click and drag the bottom right handle of the button in the viewport to resize it. Okay, we'll resize that in a second. If we don't see the handles, we need to make sure the select tool is active in the toolbar. So if you can't see these little dots, these little orange dots, you probably got one of these selected according to that. So select this, what is it called? Select mode, or just press Q, either or. So let's get this and let's resize it. That's good enough. Actually, we'll see. We'll see. How about that? All right, and then drag it over near this thing too. It's going to say too. Click and drag the button itself to move it closer to the sprite. Yeah, so just like that. So we can also write a label on the button by editing its text property in the inspector. We're going to enter toggle motion. Okay. Let's do that. I didn't do that in the in rehearsal. I didn't even realize, I didn't even know that was a thing we can do. So toggle motion. Awesome. That's actually pretty cool. All right, so there's that. Let's go over here. All right, so our scene tree and viewport should look like this. It looks good enough. Looks kind of the same. To save our we're going to save our newly created scene as node2d dot, what is it? Text scene. That's what it was. If we haven't already, and then we can run it with F6. So we'll just press F6 so it'll save it for us. Boom. Save it. Boom. All right. And there we go. It's not doing anything, but at least it's there, right? So let's go to the next thing. So we will be, what does it say? Run it? Okay. At the moment, the button will be visible, but nothing happens when we press it. Let's press it. I forgot to do that. Let's do that. No, not that. F6. Yeah, nothing happens. Okay, cool. It was telling the truth. All right. So now we're on to connecting a signal in the editor. So here we want to connect the button's pressed signal to our sprite 2D. And we want to call a new function that will toggle its motion on and off, okay? We need to have a script attached to the sprite 2D node, which we do from the previous lesson. So basically, if the thing's moving, like when we had it moving in a circle, we want to be able to like click the button and make it stop or start, all right? So we can connect signals in the node dock by selecting the button node, and on the right side of the editor, we're going to click on the tab named node next to the inspector. Okay, so we can connect signals. So let's make sure this button is selected, then go to the inspector and go to node. So let's do that. So button selected, let's go over here, button selected. Here's the inspector looking like this now. And let's go over to node. Boom. There's that. All right, so let's go see what is next. The dock displays a list of signals available on the selected node. We saw that. We're going to double click the pressed signal to open the node connection window. Right? So we'll double click this and a window should pop up, and it does. Let's see what's next. There we can connect the signal to the to the Sprite 2D node. The node needs a receiver method, a function that Godot will call when the button emits the signal. Okay, that's what a receiver method is. Okay, the editor generates one for us. By convention, we name these callback methods on node name, signal name. Here, it'll be on button pressed. Okay, so when it says this on right here is this on right here. This node name right here is this button right here. So that's the node name. And then this, signal name. All right. And then this signal name right here is this signal name right here. So this is the node. Oh, this is the node. This is the signal for the node, right? And there we go. So let's do what it said. Let's look at the thing. So yeah, from signal pressed, connect to script filter nodes. On button pressed will be the receiver method, and connect it. We don't need to press advanced because we don't know what to do with that. So let's connect it. Boom. So now we've got this little function with this little special icon next to, in this space right here. What's this icon? Doesn't tell us. Oh, it goes to the node thing. All right, cool. So there's that right there. Let's read some more. So here's the note. When connecting signals via the editor's node dock, we can use two modes. The simple one only allows us to connect to nodes that have a script attached to them and creates a new callback function on them. That's the way we just did it right here. The advanced view, which we saw over here, that looked like this, I should say, lets us connect to any node and any built-in function, add arguments to the callback, and set options. We can toggle the mode in the Windows bottom right by clicking the advanced button. Yeah, so once we learn what we can do with this, we'll start using it. But until then, we'll get to that later, right? We'll get to that later. So here's another note right here, right after that note. If we are using an external editor such as VS Code, this automatic code generation might not work. In this case, we need to connect the signal via code as explained in the next section. Okay, so we'll get there at some point when we're actually using like all 4 languages on this thing or more, whatever. We'll see. We're going to be really cool programmers. We'll see what we do. So we're going to click the connect button to complete the signal connection and jump to the script workspace. We should see the new method with a connection icon to the left margin. We saw it and we saw it all. 23, 24. Oh, we saved some space somewhere. That's fine with me. All right, so let's get back to here. All right. So if we click the icon, a window pops up and displays information about the connection. This feature is only available when connecting nodes in the editor. So yeah, when we click this, this shows up right here. What's it for? I don't know. Maybe we'll learn later. All right, so let's go here and let's replace the line with the pass keyword with code that'll toggle the node's motion. They're talking about this part right here. All right. All right, there we go. So our Sprite 2D moves thanks to code in the process function. Godot provides a method to toggle processing on and off. Node.setProcess, okay? Another method of the node class is processing. Returns true if idle. Processing, what? Returns true if idle processing is active. Whatever that is. I don't know what that means. We can use the not keyword to invert the value. Idle processing is active. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll see later. So we've got this func on button press, set process, not is processing. So whatever it is, we're going to change it to the other way, to the off. It'll be either on or off, and that's what we'll change it to. So the function will toggle processing, and in turn, the icon's motion on and off upon pressing the button. Okay. Before trying the game, we need to simplify our process function to move the node automatically and not wait for user input, okay? We're going to replace it with the following code, which we saw 2 lessons ago. This stuff right here. So we need to add this and we need to add this. So let's add this one first, and then we'll change the process to this. Because this is what happened. This is the one we used when we were just making it go into a circle, right? So yeah, first let's add this to the bottom. So let's come over here and let's drop it down 1 to 24. Drop this in there like that. And this isn't good because we don't have that second part in yet. So let's come over here and let's change up the process to just that, right? So we're going to get rid of our thing that lets us control it from 18 to 6. Drop it off like that. And this is still not good. All right. Oh yeah, because this was supposed to replace that. All right, so there we go. There we go. That looks good. Let's see if the thing runs. Let's push F6. It's going. It's going. It's going. Yeah. Let's move. Look, check it out. Let's move this over just a little bit. Make it a little bit bigger. What do we press? F8. F8. Yeah. So let's go to 2D mode. What was the hotkey for 2D? I forgot. All right. So let's go to 2D mode. Let's do this. And let's try to get it to hold on. Let's run the thing. Let's run the thing again real quick. I want to get it to like a game where we got to get it. Okay, let's try to get this corner into here, like right around here. Actually, let's make this a little tighter, actually. Okay, hold on. Let's push the button. No. We're trying to get this corner inside of the gray area. Almost. That's not good enough, though. It's got to be in it. Nope. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. This is for a video. I'm doing it too late. This thing's got some straight up lag. All right, there we go. There's a game, right? We just made a game, right? There's a game, right? We just need to tie it to where if we do this, it says you win. And if it's outside of it, it says you owe me $30. That's so stupid. Anyway, so anyway, let's go. That's cool. The thing works. We can turn it off and we can turn it on. And we can turn it on. It's a really challenging game, isn't it? You can see it in action. One more time. Okay, one more time. Come on. I mean this one. I don't want to have to fast forward. That's good enough. I don't care. All right. That's not a winner, though. The winner was that first one where it was nice dead in the middle. But this'll win on practice mode. Okay. Anyway, get out of here. F8. All right. So that's cool. Let's go back to learning, to the boring stuff. All right. So our complete Sprite 2D code should look like this. And it basically does, except for it's ours. Actually, where'd it go? Where's the script? Let's change this up to make it more cool, like more organized and stuff. There we go. All right, so there's that right there. And it still runs. So there we go. All right, so let's come back over here to this and let's see what's next. So we ran it. Now connecting a signal via code, all right? So we can connect signals via code instead of using the editor. Okay. This is necessary when we create nodes or instantiate scenes inside of a script. Okay. I don't know what that means. We're going to use a different node here. Godot has a timer node that's useful to implement skill cooldown times, weapon reloading, and more. We're going to head back to the 2D workspace, and we can either click the 2D text at the top of the window or press Control F1. Okay. So let's do that. Let's get the 2D text. No. Okay, so Control F1 gets us to the 2D text. Control F1. Wait, what's Control F2? Control F3. Control. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. All right, so we learned that. Let's go to the next thing. In the scene dock, right-click on the Sprite 2D node and add a new child node. We're going to search for timer and add the corresponding node. Pardon me. Our scene should now look like this. It needs to have a timer inside of this Sprite 2D. So let's go over here and let's highlight Sprite 2D. Let's put a timer in there with a little Control A to get this thing up. Let's type in timer. There that is. It's already highlighted for us. Let's create it, and there's that. What else you want? Yes, it does. Okay. So with the timer mode the timer node selected, we're going to go to the inspector and enable the auto start property. Okay, so auto start, we're going to make it auto start. Okay. Let's 2D node. What did you want? Button node? No. Oh, is it in the inspector, huh? It's in the inspector, huh? Is it auto start here? Okay. So yeah, go to the inspector with timer highlighted. Yeah, because none of the other ones have auto start. And then just click auto start. All right. So let's go to the next part. We're going to click on script. Pardon me. We're going to click the script icon next to Sprite 2D to jump back to the scripting workplace. So yeah, I think on this one, they're just trying to show us the places where we could also find it. We could click this. But remember, we just learned that cool thing where we can just press Control F3. There we go. All right, so let's get back here with Control F3. You can click this if you feel like it. You can click this if you feel like it. I think the hotkeys are the best, are the coolest option. So we need to do 2 operations to connect the nodes via code. All right. We need to get a reference to the timer from the Sprite 2D. Okay. And we need to call the connect method on the timer's timeout signal. What does that mean? We'll see. Anyway, here's a note. To connect to a signal via code, we need to call the connect method. So we're going to need to call this method to do it via code. Okay. Of the signal we want to listen to. In this case, we want to listen to the timer's timeout signal. All right. This is one of the reasons why after we're done with all this, we're going to also go watch some actual pros in action, you know, to see what they do, because I don't even know what they're really talking about, but let's do what they tell us right now. So to connect to this, we need to do that. If we want to listen to, in this case, we want to listen to timer's timeout signal. Okay. So we want to connect the signal when the scene is instantiated. And we can do that using the node.ready built-in function, which is called automatically by the engine when a node is fully instantiated. Oh, okay. When the scene is we want this to run when it starts. And this is going to help us do it. I think that's what it's saying, which is called automatically. Yes. So this is going to be called when this turns on. That's basically what that thing's saying. I'm pretty sure. Let's go to the next part. So to get a reference to a node relative to the current one, we use the method node.getNode. Okay. To get a reference to the node relative to the current one, we use node.getNode. I don't know what that means. We can store the reference in a variable. Okay. Okay. So .getNode or getNode. This is like, okay. I think this is like the filter like in JavaScript when they have like prototype dot whatever. Maybe node.getNode is the same kind of syntax. Who knows? Anyway, this is what they're talking about. So we're going to use this getNode to find the timer in the list of these. So it's going to find this here. It's going to search this thing, I guess, and find timer somehow, according to this. All right. So we can store the reference in a variable. So we're going to do something like this. Func ready, like they said, the ready thing, this node.ready. So we're going to have func ready, var timer equals get node timer. So let's get this and let's toss it in over here. Not like that though. Let's go down to 14 and drop it down. And then do this. Okay. So we've got that. Let's go to the next part. So the function getNode looks at the sprite2D's children and gets nodes by their name. Yeah, like we just saw when we looked at this. It looks through sprite2D's children. Yeah, this thing's children. So it looks through this. And I guess that's the only child it has, but yeah. So for example, if we rename the timer node to blinking timer in the editor. So if we named this, if we renamed this with, I guess there's a rename, and then blinking timer, we would have to change it here because it's not going to find timer anymore. True. All right. So yeah, we'd have to change it. So now we can now connect the timer to the sprite2D in the ready function. Okay. So we're going to add this to the ready function right here. So let's just take that. This timer.timeout.connect on timer timeout. All right. Sounds like Tim the Tat Man, doesn't it? So there's that. Okay, so now we got a problem, but that's because timer on timer timeout has not been declared, right? So if we come over here, we can see the line reads like so. We connect, so they're talking about this. We connect the timer's timeout signal to the node which the script is attached. I think that's this part right here, all the way here, right? When the timer emits timeout, when this emits timeout, when this emits timeout, okay, we want to call the function on timer timeout. Okay. That we haven't defined yet. Okay, so we haven't defined this yet. That's why we got that red bar. All right, so let's do it one more time. When this node timer emits timeout. So when this thing emits timeout, how it's going to do that, we'll see. We're going to call it on. We're going to call this thing on it. Okay, cool. Let's add it at the bottom of our script and use it to toggle our sprite's visibility. Let's do that. I think we already did do that. So by convention, we name these callback methods in GD script and on node name, node signal, just like we talked about earlier. So on, this is the node name, and this is the node signal, right? And then for C#, it's C# way. So now we're going to need to add this to it. So let's grab this and drop this off. This on timer timeout, this should take care of this, because this one we're going to make is going to be that. All right, so let's go down here, drop it. So now this can be called, so now this thing can be called here. That's what I'm saying. All right, so let's go back over here and see what they're saying. So the visibility property is a Boolean. Visible. Okay, the visible property, this one here, is a Boolean that controls the visibility of our node. All right. The line visible equals not visible toggles the value. If visible is true, it becomes false, and vice versa. Pardon me. Okay. So if we call this is getting switched. Whatever's visible was is now the opposite. So if we run the node 2D scene now, we will see that the sprite blinks on and off at 1 second intervals. Let's see, shall we? F6. It surely does. That's going to make it a little harder, isn't it? Level 2, right? Oh, how are you supposed to do this? Is that it? Did I get no? Now. Okay. Now. One more time. I don't care. Yes! That was good enough. Oh, I really didn't care. I really was going to keep going. All right, great. So there's level 2. We'll release that. We'll release that next week on next week's patch. All right. Anyways, let's F8. Boom, get out of here. All right, so now we're on to the next part. So complete script, okay? So that's it for this little moving and blinking Godot icon demo. So here's the complete 3D, sprite2d.gd file for reference. Yeah, it looks kind of like ours, but ours looks cooler because it's more organized. Right? Right? I think, right? Or is it not more organized? I can't tell. I don't really care. It works and it works. So there's that. So let's go back over here. So now we're on to this custom signals section. Note, this section is a reference on how to define and use our own signals. It does not build upon the project created in previous lessons. So it has nothing to do with this. So we can define custom signals in a script. Okay. Say, for example, that we want to show a game over screen when the player's health reaches 0. Okay. So to do so, we could define a signal named died or health depleted when their health reaches 0. Sure, why not? Extends node 2D signal health depleted var health equals 10. Okay. So I guess this is how we call signals. But where would we define this thing? Okay, let's go down here. So as signals represent events that just occurred, we generally use an action verb in the past tense in their names. Okay, so yeah, they're talking about depleted. So health depleted or life drained, mana drained. I don't know. Something like that. Our signals work the same way as built-in ones. They appear in the node tab, and we can connect to them like any other. So they show up over here, and we can connect to them like that over in the node tab. So right over here. I wish we could make one, but we'll see. We'll see if we can. So let's go. To emit a signal in our scripts, we need to call emit on the signal. So func take damage amount health minus equals amount. If health is less than 0, health depleted dot emit. Right, but how do we make it, bro? How do we make the health depleted emit? A signal can optionally declare one or more arguments. Specify the argument names between the parentheses. Okay, so if health changed, old value, new value. That's cool, but how do we... I don't think they're going to tell us how to make them. I don't believe they will. Tell us how to make signals of our own. Did we see? I don't think we did. It doesn't seem like they're going to tell us how to make these. So we'll have to find out about custom signals later. I'm sure it's really easy, actually. It's probably just one little extra page we have to link to that we got to make ourselves. No big deal. So the signal arguments show up in the editor's node doc, okay? And Godot can use them to generate callback functions for us. So doing this will make callback functions for us? Whatever. However, we can still emit any number of arguments when we emit signals. So it's up to us to emit the correct values. Okay. Okay, I don't know what that means. To emit values along with the signal, we need to add them as extra arguments to the emit function. So we've got GD script func take damage amount, var old health equals health, health minus equals amount, health change dot emit, old health, health. Okay. Okay, what? I don't get it. Well, look, that's what I'm saying. We got to see somebody do this stuff in action because I don't even know. I don't know what that possibly could be. So here's a summary. Any node in Godot emits signals when something specific happens to them, like a button being pressed. Okay, yeah. So like the button being pressed and us being able to stop it, stop the logo going in a circle. So other nodes can connect to individual signals and react to selected events. Signals have many uses. With them, we can react to a node entering or exiting the game world, to a collision, to a character entering or leaving an area, to an element of the interface changing size, and much more. All right. For example, an area 2D representing a coin emits a body entered signal whenever the player's physics body enters the collision shape, allowing us to know when the player collected it. So they're talking about a coin knowing that the player's body entered the area where the coin is, right? In the next section, our first 2D game will create a complete 2D game and put everything we learned so far into practice. I hope we do, honestly. Here's a bunch of notes. I went through none of them because this first one just seemed like it was a little over my head. So yeah, if you want to check those out, they're right there. Other than that, let's go to the next one. All right, so now we're on to our first 2D game, and we'll see you next time.